You know, if you would have told me back in 2009 when Drake released So Far Gone that 17 years later he'd be considered one of the greatest rappers who ever lived and one of the greatest artists in music history, I would have told you to.
Hey, off the weed.
But in my defense, who could have predicted this? Who would have thought that this goofy looking kid from Canada with less bass in his voice than Elmo would put the rap game in a chokehold for nearly 2 decades? Because Drake
Drake? Drake?
wasn't supposed to succeed. Not like this. For one, he was signed to Lil Wayne under Young Money, which itself operated under Cash Money. A nigga signed to a nigga that was signed to a nigga. We had never really seen a protege become a bigger artist than the rapper who signed him, except maybe once, Dr. Dre and Eminem. But even in that situation, it was different. Dre was more producer and executive than frontline artist. Then Eminem signed 50 Cent, which while 50 became a phenomenon at the height of 50 Cent mania, he was absolutely huge. He was monumental, but he never surpassed M. So let's be honest, nobody thought Drake would become Lil Wayne's version of 50 Cent, let alone Eminem. Let's fast forward to today. And if you were to ask people who lived through both Wayne and Drake's eras, who ultimately became the bigger artist? And many would say Drake. Now, around that time, hip hop was in a very strange place. Nas had literally released an album called Hip Hop Is Dead in 2006. And honestly, there's an argument that hip hop as we knew it may have headed towards a decline in the 2010s if Drake never arrived. Because, for better or for worse, Drake changed rap. If you were a producer, rappers wanted beats that sounded like Drake. If you were an engineer, artists wanted mixes that sounded like Drake. If you were a rapper, you no longer had to strictly rap about street shit. You could talk about relationships, you could be more vulnerable, you could sing, you could use your emotions, you could rap like Drake. And this is something that Drake did notice. From the song Lord Knows, Drake said, and I quote, "A lot of niggas came up off of a style that I made up, but if all I hear is me, then who should I be afraid of?" But then came Kendrick Lamar. After losing the battle, Drake found himself in unfamiliar territory. Suddenly, people were saying that he should retire. Others were comparing him to Ja Rule. There were these ghostwriting accusations, PDF allegations, and nonstop criticism. For perhaps the first time in his career, it felt like the hip hop world had turned its back on the boy. So the question became, how do you lose the battle but win the war? Simple. You gotta do something epic. And with the release of Iceman, Drake may have done exactly just that. By doing so, Drake became the first living artist ever to hold the top 3 albums on the Billboard 200 simultaneously, with Iceman, Maid of Honor, and Habibti collectively moving over 600,000 units. It seems Drake's reign might not be over just yet. And when you really step back and look at the numbers, his legacy becomes almost impossible to ignore. Drake is one of the most commercially successful artists in music history, with over 170 million records sold worldwide. He holds the record for the most charted songs ever, with over 350 entries, along with the most top 10 hits in history. He's won 5 Grammy Awards. He's accumulated over 100 billion with a B Spotify streams and is the most streamed artist in US history. In 2021, he was named Artist of the Decade. So maybe in an era where little thought, little creativity or feeling goes into rap music, I think we have taken Drake for granted because whether you love him or hate him, Drake continues to move the culture and give us music that people look forward to hearing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for Lightning in a Bottle. My name is Philip. Until next time, peace. Come spend a moment in the mind of a G. This crazy world where nothing's ever what it seems. You never known another nigga like me. You never know another nigga like me. What's up? Come spend a moment in the mind of a G. This crazy world where nothing's ever what it seems. You never known another nigga like me. You never know another nigga